I don't know. I mean, that's part 3 of the triptych, so obviously the other 2 we haven't seen. But could you give us a little journey in terms of where that, when did it start?
Okay, it probably started about 4 years ago with a performance piece. I should say that I live in Paris, and I went to Paris actually to continue my studies, and I'm studying sexuality, in fact, in relation to queer studies and queer arts, etc. And that was perhaps the basis. And Birth 3 in particular was perhaps the beginning of Birth 3 was a performance piece, actually. And that was actually the beginning of my studies in Paris, which later became the 3rd part of the triptych.
So you developed that in Paris?
Yes.
And performed in Paris?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then after Birth 1 and Birth 2, I decided that I hadn't finished what I wanted to say, I suppose. And I decided that I wanted to rewrite Birth 3. I wanted it to become a film. I didn't want to film the performance, I wanted it to be a film in its own right, which it now is.
You are originally from here, Manchester?
Yeah, I mean, I lived in Manchester, and trained in Manchester, and in Manchester,
okay, moving into so Birth 3, let's talk, I'm looking at yourself. I'm thinking of how, in terms of auditioning, how did you meet?
I mean, do you want to answer that?
No, you can answer it, it's fine.
Well, no, you should answer that.
Okay. Basically, I did actually go to college with Antony originally,
right.
And we hadn't been in touch with him for quite a while. And then I decided to get in touch with him through his agent, and we sort of got back together and spent some time. And as he was working on these films, and I'd gone home, and then he phoned me and said, "Oh, look, do you fancy getting involved in stuff, in my training actress?" So I went ahead and got involved with it.
So you've been going through the process from 1, 2, 3.
Oh no, I'm actually involved in Birth 3.
Right, yeah.
And
sorry,
the
but
and the next one.
And the next.
Yeah.
We shall
which we're
go
editing.
we shall go into the next. Yeah. In terms of its budget, I mean, how's that? How do you?
Well, it's difficult to say. And actually, the Internet Data Movie Base put 8,000, but it wasn't that much. But it depends what you include in the budget. Actually, to make the film, I mean, everybody. I suppose I should. Everybody worked for free. I mean, everybody was obviously professional, and they all worked for free. And I got the equipment for free. But then, I had to spend, obviously, as everybody does, a lot of money on costume and all these other things, and hiring the venue and such like. But it was actually. It ended up being maybe 4,000, or maybe even a little bit more.
And the time taken for Birth 3, the time.
Actually, filming, it was probably about 4 days.
Okay.
The main bulk of it was filmed in an old SNCF warehouse, like an old train station. And it's very theatrical. I mean, I trained as an actor. I come from a theatre background, which shows I think in the work. So it was almost like a rehearsal actually for a performance piece, but for a film. And then we did 2 other days filming elsewhere. Yeah.
I'm going to be straight to makeup as well, actually, because thinking of how did you work? In terms of working together, how did that kind of come through? How did you meet even? How did you?
Well, we've known him for many years. I've worked in many theatres, from Phantom of the Opera to, record production company. So, naturally, I love makeup. So Antony's a very good friend of mine, and when he told me the script, he had a very clear mind of how he wanted to produce, how he wanted Amanda to be seductive and seduced, because basically it's like a Picasso, it's a film, but it's really trying to express how people feel inside towards certain situations. So that's why with the makeup, with the black and white and everything, it was to symbolise, that, the way a group of people can come across as being quite patterned, like yeah. So just basically, the makeup was to express the essence of the situation, and Antony was very clear on how he wanted to, obviously because of the way the words as well, so it's very visual. He's very good at that.
No, it works. It works. I'm going to open it up to the floor, actually. Straight away. Any questions, please?